No worries.
I'm gonna get right on to it. Just give me 1 second. So the name of my podcast is called Car Conversation. So we
Hey,
do these type of we do these type of interviews in the car. That's our shtick there. So
I love it, man. I love it. I love it.
sure, I'm just waiting on my co-host. She had stepped inside this. Okay, she will be here in 2 seconds.
Yeah,
Yeah,
cool.
we're happy to meet with you today. It looks like
Likewise, likewise. Whereabouts are you guys in the world?
yeah. So we are in North Carolina, North Carolina,
Nice,
specifically on the
nice.
East Coast. Yes, sir. Hey,
Hi.
this is my co-host here.
Hi.
Hey, how you doing?
Hi. I'm Queen D. Nice to meet you. It is
Nice. Oh yeah, I can
I have to
imagine.
bring
I
my
mean, it's hot
umbrella.
here for London, but I'm pretty sure it's not hot as hot as what you guys have. So
What's the weather there?
the temperature, it's like, I mean, we do Celsius, so I think it's like 20, I want to say like 24 Celsius here, which is like 70s Fahrenheit, I think.
Yeah, yeah, that's nice though. I mean, I lived there for 5 years. That's nice.
Oh, nice. Whereabouts did you live in
Yeah,
in
41
London?
Redburn Street in London, 41 Redburn Street. I used to walk all the time to Harrods with my baby in the stroller.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
It says
Being able to walk is the one of the that whenever I go to America, it's like unless you're in like a city
Yes,
or like a New York, like not being able to walk is probably the reason why I just like would really struggle to move.
it's hard, absolutely. Because here in NC, that's one of the challenges. They're doing
Mm,
better. They're finally now starting to put in some sidewalks in some areas, but
yeah,
didn't really get it, driving into drive through for Starbucks, drive through for Panera Bread. I'm thinking
yeah.
I used to walk to all those things, and I just wasn't used to drive through supermarkets.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
I was like,
Yeah.
but and then they blame everyone for obesity, but you're not giving them enough gyms and
Yeah, it's the
like,
lifestyle. It's a tricky thing
uh,
with the lifestyle of not of having to drive everywhere definitely is a lot to do with it, I would say.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
absolutely. So it's
because
not
walking is such an underrated way of, keeping healthy. Like it's just something that, if you don't do it
absolutely,
every day, walking, stairs, like they're things that
yes,
people don't talk about enough, how important doing it regularly is to like maintaining a healthy weight. So I can imagine it's, the lifestyle is it's a huge reason for
yeah.
it.
I agree, because my original home is New York, so I'm
Mm,
walking, and
yeah,
here
exactly.
I've literally I have put on 20 pounds from being in North Carolina, and I am going to blame North Carolina.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I mean, like every highway, like every street, oh, you have like rows and rows of fast food, and that
Yeah.
just doesn't happen in London and New York. It's not there. It's not like that.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I guess there's also like different ingredients that abound
I
in
absolutely,
Europe that you guys have in there that is not good that's
yeah,
not good for people and stuff.
it's
So
not healthy at all. So, but the other responsibilities, I just gonna just have to walk around with celery and an apple.
yeah, exactly.
The bottom floor. That's what I'm gonna have to do.
Yeah, it looks like it's 80 degrees over there from what I'm seeing on my.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
So yeah, like mid-20s, yeah.
they've installed some air conditioning I see over there now, and some of the
Little bit.
little
We're okay.
bit.
Just leaving the window open is good
Yeah,
enough for
yeah,
us. We don't need the
yeah.
air conditioning yet. It's
Mhm.
not that hot just yet. So
Yeah, thank God. Yeah.
yeah.
So, we want to talk about your film here,
The run.
Mhm.
The Run. I like
Yeah.
the title. I like that. That
Yeah.
means so many things.
Yeah.
So when people walk into the theater to see your film and they read The Run, what is it that you want them to get from just the title itself?
I mean, it's funny because it's a nice segue from kind of what we were just talking about. That it's the premise of it was something that I wanted a film that was that was moving quickly all the time, always on the move, always kinetic, from
Yes,
scene to scene. The
absolutely.
characters are all on the move. The camera was always on the move. And I was like, okay, what's a premise that feeds itself
Yeah.
into that pace of storytelling? And I
Uh-huh.
was like, yeah, just running. Like, yeah, right. Let's have a character. And because running is such a huge fitness,
Very
staple of
therapeutic.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, and especially here in Europe, like
Mhm.
running clubs, like they've been becoming more and more popular
Yes.
recently. So I was just like, yeah, let's have a film about someone who goes on a run and people in an isolated place, and their life becomes in danger. So their morning run becomes the run for their life. That was like the original kind of concept of it. So I would want people going to the cinema to be like, look, this is going to be it's non-stop, pulsating,
I love
thrill
it.
ride,
I love that.
high stakes thrill ride. So yeah, that's what I want people to
I
be
love
going in
that.
thinking.
That's wonderful for sure. I would like to just say, what's real fascinating is because essentially you're democratizing storytelling with the run, and now the
Mm.
run does feature Roxanne McKee from Game of Thrones
Roxanne Key, yeah.
as this fitness influencer.
Yeah.
It's being hunted in the Italian mountains. But
Oh
here's what
God.
gets me really riled up, fancied up. The audience becomes her survival team. Talk to me about this whole power dynamic experience
Yeah, that's
that we have going
clever.
on here.
Yeah, so it's an interactive film, which is effectively like a choose your own adventure structure where the audience will every now and again during the story get choices to make for Xana, the protagonist.
Uh,
So again, it's like it's that intersection between film and game, and giving that a sense of agency to the audience, and especially within the genre of like a survival horror,
uh-huh.
it's something that really raises the stakes, putting that onus on the audience, and being able to work in this space has allowed me to sort of really borrow things from the video game storytelling playbook and add them with the filmmaking storytelling playbook. So, there are 20 different ways that Xana can die if you make the wrong decision.
Oh my,
So there's a lot in there that, and it means that, the stakes are real, and the
yes.
choices that you make really do affect the story. So
Wow.
that's kind of, that was how the genre and that concept really fed into not only the type of film I wanted to make, but the mechanics of the type of interactive film that I wanted to make as well.
And George Blackman from Vikings plays her ally. So I liked that you're working with actors who understand essentially epic storytelling. And how do you direct performances when you know the story might go 20 different directions?
Yeah, so that's always the biggest challenge, and it's more so for the actors because I can tell them conceptually and theoretically what I think would work, but for them they've got to reconcile. And I think what I found is that a lot of actors actually find the interactive side quite liberating because they not that usually when you prepare a film, you'll have a rehearsal period or they'll prep the script themselves and they'll run through the different ways a character could respond to a certain situation or deliver a certain line. And it's almost like with an interactive, because they've got these different branches, they don't need to throw away all of that prep work because they can explore the different
Mhm.
possibilities of how their character could be. And whereas usually in a linear film they kind of have to zero in on one single through line. So it's quite liberating in that sense that they get to explore these different emotional directions and moral directions and ethical
Yeah.
directions the character could go. But they also, also obviously with the structure, you want to make sure that they have they maintain a consistency in performance. That means that it's possible that this character could go that direction and could go another direction as well. So there's a bit of technical. It's liberating, but also quite quite tricky in certain ways. So yeah, it's kind of a double edged sword.
Uh-huh.
Now
It
you've
is.
got Franco Nero, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, the
Mm-hmm.
original Django, and Dario Argento, the
Uh-huh.
master of Galileo, making appearances. That's not just casting. I mean, that's basically like paying homage to cinema
Yeah,
history there while you're
absolutely.
pushing
Mm.
it forward. What does that mean to you
Yes.
as a filmmaker,
I
Peter?
mean, it was incredible. I mean,
Clever.
because we were shooting in Italy, the producers Seth Michaels and Sarah Sameti Michaels of Bennicus Entertainment, as well as Reese Foster of RNF Productions, who were the two companies behind the film. They really, really were like, we want to lean into the fact that we are in Italy. It's very much part of the story, and we were able to we wanted to shoot for the stars in terms of these characters that we could get. So we we had the idea. The idea was floated of Dario and Franco, and I was like, no way, man! Like, there's no way these guys would come and be in the film. But we reached out, and they believed in the vision. And being able to just spend time with them on set and speak to them
That's
was
amazing.
kind of like a pinch me moment.
Wonderful.
Yeah, it's been very. I've had a few rare occurrences in my career where I've been able to work with people who are like personal heroes of myself.
Uh-huh.
So anytime you get to do that, it kind of really makes you like take
Yeah.
stock and look back and be like, wow, I remember watching watching these people's films
Yeah.
growing up and when you were younger and now that I'm here talking to them, it's always a kind of pinch me moment
Yeah.
and makes it feel real. So yeah, no, it was an honor. It was an honor.
Now, Paul, I've got to ask. You mentioned in your notes that when you screened your own film, you killed off the
You
main character
killed
multiple
off the main
times
character.
before getting it right, and your final outcome was quote unquote damnation. So, what does that say to us as storytellers when we're given real power
Yeah.
over someone's fate?
I mean, I think it's an interesting one because I always like to think that viewers, audiences now have become so well versed and in their
Hmm.
understanding of the
Hmm.
conventions of cinematic storytelling. It's almost like, people will watch a film and they roughly know what the
Kind
formula
of,
is by
yeah.
genre. They know that usually, oh, the protagonist is going to find a way out of
Right.
this in
Right.
some way. They're gonna, if you go into an Avengers film, as a one, an example on one side of the spectrum, the Avengers are going to win. It's
Right.
just like even in a situation where it looks like all hope is lost, they're going to find a way to win.
Yeah.
And I think that's just one example. But I think people have grown up watching films and TV series so much now that
Unpredictable.
yeah, exactly. But it's because they almost understand the story conventions themselves.
Yeah.
And those conventions are things that are taught to us as screenwriters
Hmm.
growing up. How to structure a story, what kind of journey a protagonist should go on, what an antagonist should be, what kind of key story beats you have. And I think just by osmosis, an audience has now picked up on all of that. And I think we as filmmakers need to push the envelope in
A
in
little.
terms of
Yeah.
in,
Yeah.
in terms of creating new
Yeah.
story dynamics and exploring new things. And I think
Bit,
just
bit
interactive is sorry, go
unpredictable.
ahead.
Yes. Unpredictable. A little bit more
Yeah,
unpredictable. Yeah. Makes it more interesting.
exactly. I think so. And I think that that's just what interactivity does. It adds pressure, it adds stakes, it immerses them more in the story, but it also means that, they can make the choice that but perhaps doesn't seem the logical choice that you would see in a conventional film. And they can then explore what the repercussions of that choice may be. So yeah, I think it's quite liberating for the audience as well to kind of explore, new possibilities within a
Yes.
story.
Yes.
Yeah, let's talk about the creative process and technology. Let's talk craft for a minute. You've created 6 interactive films now: The Complex, Five
Hmm.
Dates, 10 Days, The Gallery, Hell, Strange, and Run. That's not a script. I
Yeah.
mean, itself. How is your process go?
Is the signal
There.
the signal can
Oh, look there.
yeah, I can hear you
We
guys.
lost the signal.
Hey,
Okay, how about
yeah, I think
now?
you're back. I think you're back now.
Hi.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
good,
perfect.
good,
I think we're
good,
good now. I think
All
we're good
right.
good.
now. I didn't catch the
Did you
question.
need me to repeat my question
Yes,
again?
please. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It
Yeah,
broke.
that's not. Yeah, let's talk craft for a minute. You've created 6 interactive films now: The Complex, Five Dates, 10 Dates, The Gallery, Hell, Strange, and Now to Run.
Yes,
I
hello.
mean, you just basically built an entirely new medium. How has your process evolved working all these projects and such in between?
Mm.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, I've been doing it for 6 years now, so it's been quite exciting just finding myself in a niche where the language of the storytelling medium is still being written. So that was exciting in itself, and I think just the way it's evolved over the years is being seeing how much I can borrow from video game storytelling conventions. I think that's the true thing that really excites me about this crossover format between film and game. So, be from just simple choice making mechanics, I've explored, early deaths, the idea of deaths. There's a story map in there. The geography is really important. So, like a world map as a premise, which is something that you've got in games a lot. And then just everything in between. I've explored like actual playable mini games. I've explored all sorts of different kind of mechanics that and how to meld them in with a cinematic story has been an incredible learning curve and challenge for myself over the past few years. So yeah, it's just trying to see how I can blend the two mediums and the two take techniques from both film and game and make them work together. That's been the real journey over the past 6 years.
And your background also includes White Chamber, which got Shauna McDonald a BAFTA Scotland win for Best Actress. So you
Yeah.
know traditional filmmaking inside and out. What made you pivot to a more interactive format? Was there a moment where you were like, the audience needs to be part of the story, or what was it there?
It was. I wish there was like a really cool reason like that, but it was just that was an opportunity that came my way that really excited me at the start of 2019. A producer who'd seen White Chamber, seen my previous work, really liked it. He was developing an interactive script to choose an adventure film, and obviously Bandersnatch, the Black Mirror episode, which was interactive, had just come out. So, and I've always been a keen gamer and interested in these kinds of stories. So I just kind of jumped at the opportunity when it came my way, and that was the Complex was the first one, and that was just successful. So it just led to one project to another. And as a indie filmmaker, I'm always very keen to stress that it's also my job, and if that's where the employment is coming from, strategically it makes more sense for me to be there. But luckily, it was somewhere I wanted to be creatively as well. So it was sort of, yeah, it was just something that luckily came my way, and I've kind of run with it ever since. But I will, my plan is still to make traditional films again at some point. But at the moment, if that's where people want me making interactive films, I'm not gonna say no.
Agree. Uh-huh.
Yeah, so Hello Stranger just launched on stream with Derek
Yeah.
Jacobi,
Mhm.
Yasmin Finney from
Hmm.
Heartstopper, Laura Whitmore, incredible cast. You're literally are bridging the gap between gaming and cinema. So
Yeah.
for our audience who might not be gamers, how do you make this
Yeah. How do
accessible
you
to
merge
everyone?
it?
Well, that's the big missing link at the moment. I think we have obviously the place that's easiest to release at the moment for these, because they count as both a film and a video game, is the gaming platforms. That's the one which can support the technology the best. But I think the landscape that we're working at the moment is changing all the time. And I think with people like Netflix and Amazon, pivoting into the gaming and trying to merge their film and TV streaming platforms with a gaming branch as well. I feel like we're going to be seeing more of those kinds of players getting involved in sort of mixing the two mediums in terms of what they offer to an audience, and hopefully having film viewers who are casual gamers coming over to try out games, and gamers who are casual film viewers coming over to try out watching some more films. So it's an exciting space to be in. Again, seeing how the film and TV world is trying to adapt
Yeah.
to support different types of media. That's sort of, and we've always got to keeping an eye on and maintaining conversations with those people just to see when the right opportunity may be to release on everything, which would be the dream.
Yeah. That's cool. That's
Yeah, that
cool.
glow stick voting system, that's pretty unique. Tell us more about that.
Mm. So yeah, for when we have a cinema screening of the of an interactive film, we have the audience. They come in, we hand them a simple, humble glow stick, and then every time there's a choice, they have to raise their glow stick for the option that they want to happen, and whichever is the most popular, because you can visually clearly see from the glow sticks, and sometimes from the noise of the audience, they can get quite involved. Which choice they want to do. So they are effectively building the story together, as so the interaction is not just with the film itself, it's amongst each other, which is what I think the real beauty of the format is, that it creates this participative community feel to watching something as a group.
Yeah. Who came up with that idea? Because that was very creative. Because I see glow
Well,
stick.
we wanted to yeah, well, we looked at different ideas. We looked at apps that allowed the audience to vote. We looked at different kinds of things, but we found that the most seamless way to do it and keep and not break the immersion with the story was the lo-fi way of doing it with glow sticks. So I was
Right.
like, look, I don't want to hear, I don't want us to try and run before we've walked and try and recreate the whole cinema system. I think if we can do this really simply with glow sticks, let's do it that way. And yeah, it's been working ever since.
Now, Paul, Now, our audience is all about empowerment and authentic storytelling. What I
Hmm.
like about your work so far is that you're literally are giving power back to the people who are consuming. In a world where we often feel like we're passive consumers of media,
Hmm.
it seems as though you're making us all participate. How intentional is that political statement if it is meant to
Yeah,
be
that's
one at
super
all?
intentional, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, I think it kind of loops back to what we were talking about before, that I think audiences are super familiar with the conventional forms of storytelling to the
Yeah.
point where they're fatigued. And I think the biggest sign of that is how in the film and TV world we've almost lost the casual audience, the casual audience who would go to the cinema as a pastime, not because they love film, but as a pastime. Whereas now that audience, and it's a problem in the video game industry as well, that audience has kind of pivoted more to short form content,
Yeah.
YouTube, TikTok, those kinds of things, because like it or not, I think, people can be quite snooty about it and be like, oh, it's because of attention span. It's like, no, because there's just a lot of originality on those platforms, and there's
Yeah.
there's originality, and people are curate, and people are able to have content curated for them that they really want to see. So, for artists in the film industry to compete against that, they need to start doing, I think, doing things a bit differently. And I think that's kind of hopefully what I like to believe interactive film is. It's something a bit different. It's something a bit more unpredictable. It's something a bit more, where the audience has a bit more agency, which again, agency is something is a really important thing with YouTube and TikTok, that the audience can swipe, they can comment, they can read comments, they can drop a like, they can engage with that content in an active way. So I think, with interactive, I'm trying to bridge that gap between what people love about that format and what people love about, the old school
Yes.
traditional format of film and entertainment. So yeah, I like to think that's what I'm doing here.
I think that's
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah. So with Aviari Studios and you and your father Neville, who from what it looks like here has an incredible Hollywood background with Paramount and Warner Brothers. So it looks as though
Awesome.
you're building something completely independent. That does take courage. I mean, what drives that entrepreneurial spirit from that aspect where everything all just falls on you and you just don't
Yeah.
always underfunded and
Uh,
yeah, what's
yeah.
that grind like?
Yeah, I mean, it's cool. It's a tough grade. It's different pressures, because I have my own company with that I work with my dad, but I also get hired freelance by other producers. So just like the run was made with, work made with Bennicus Entertainment and RNF Productions. So the dynamic on them is different. Obviously, you kind of feel when it is your production company doing it, there's that extra level of pressure, but then there's also, I guess, not that I've ever had a bad experience working with other producers, but it just means that, your creative vision is sort of the one voice in the room, which, there's something fairly liberating about that. But I'm I could only really do it with experience, and I think it's just like I've been able to. I've been working in the industry for 9 years now, and I think, experience. There's no substitute for experience, and I think I'm now in a place in terms of, as a creative, where I've worked for myself, I've worked for other people, and I guess I'm doing like good enough that people want to keep hiring me and believing in me. So I think that's that there's a lot to be found in that a lot of filmmakers don't get. A lot of 80% of filmmakers will make one film and then never make another film again. So I'm very blessed. I'm very lucky, but I also think that, filmmakers, when they do have people keep hiring them, I think it's important that filmmakers, that's a sign that, you should believe in yourself more. And I think now, just having had those 9 years behind me, I'm mentally in the best place I've ever been, in terms of, look, I know that I'm good in some people's eyes. I'm good enough that I can make a living out of this, and I just got to keep doing what I'm doing and keep growing. So, it's an experience thing, and I think.
So my question is, so obviously, your father was your mentor growing up.
Okay. This magical button.
Okay. Well,
Okay. All right. So did you hear my last question, Paul?
I think so. I'm not sure how much I answered, how much you got of my answer when it
Yeah.
broke up.
So I was asking about your entrepreneurial spirit. Yeah,
Yeah,
the last thing we heard you say before you froze out was 80% of filmmakers who work independently never do
make a
anything
second
else.
film. Yeah, they never make a second film. Yeah, and I feel like if you know when you are blessed to make a second or a third and a fourth film, I think that's I think with a lot with filmmakers there's a lot of thing with confidence,
mhm.
and I think just the blessing of one even being able to make one film is an achievement enough. But when you are trusted a second or a third or a fourth time, I think that's enough to know that like people believe in your vision and people believe in what you have to say, and I think that's the thing. The more you do, the better you become. The more you learn about what you want to make, and I think just we now live in a time more than ever that people can go out and make their own stuff with and platform it with things like YouTube and TikTok and who knows where those are going to lead, because A24 just gave a 19-year-old their first feature film based on YouTube shorts that they did. So I
Wow.
think now we live in a time where it's like just get out and make stuff, and the rest will happen. The rest will come.
That's wonderful. Yeah, young people today don't realize how exciting this time is for them
Mm,
to
yeah.
become financially stable and live their life and their dreams. And so my question is, obviously your father had to be one of your mentors. Um,
Hmm.
so did you ever want to do anything besides be a filmmaker?
Not really. It was one of those things that he was a cinema operator when I was growing up, so I grew up going to the cinema every week
Oh,
basically and
wow.
renting films from Blockbuster every Friday and watching films over the weekends. So, and then when he started making independent productions, I spent a lot of time on the sets growing up.